UFC 300, mained by Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, co-mained by Zhang Weili versus Zhao Yang, with the BMF belts on the line of Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Jumping straight into it, Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. I predicted this fight to go to a second round KO for Davison Figueiredo. I thought Kobe Garbrandt's chin is washed. I thought Figueiredo could pressure him and bully him up into the fence, and Davison would just land an overhand or some uppercut and just KO Cody out cold. I was surprised. I did get the round two prediction correct. I did not get the manner. Cody looked impressive with his striking. His striking was on point. It was accurate. It was fast. It was hard. It really looked like he was pressuring Figueredo in a way he didn't like. Come the second round, you know, Figueredo shoots a really good takedown. Shoots a takedown on the primarily wrestler Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt comes from a wrestling base. I don't know how the fuck these wrestlers get taken down this easily, but especially with Davison Figueredo being the smaller man in this fight. He was very obviously the smaller man in this fight, and it was kind of worrying to a worrying point. I didn't think it was going to be that much of a difference when I made the prediction, but really being in there, it's kind of surprising how small Figueredo was compared to Cody Garbrandt. And Garbrandt's not a huge bantamweight. He's not a huge bantamweight fighter. He's just not. It's interesting to see where Figueredo goes from this fight. It's interesting to see where Cody comes from this fight. After seeing this fight, I think he can fight a couple of the lower guys, like a couple of the guys right outside of the ranking and win. But for Figueredo, I don't know how far his skill ceiling is up from here. His lack of size in the division, it's really gonna drain on him. But I got this fight. I picked this fight right. Nice one. Oh God, Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. I predicted this fight to go to the decision, which it did. But I predicted this is going to be a decision win for Jim Miller. I thought Jim Miller was going to be able to switch it up. He was going to lead with his punches, leg kicks, which are Bobby Green's kryptonite, and mix in the occasional takedown. I was 100% wrong. Bobby Green, he really did work Jim Miller over. Jim Miller played right up into Bobby Green's game of, you know, not leading the dance, but engaging first. Jim Miller would engage first and put the pressure on and back Bobby Green up, and that's exactly what Bobby Green wants. He wants to show off his slick boxing style. He wants to show off them counter punches, and to say it how it is, Bobby Green's the best counterpuncher, not in the division, but he is a great counterpuncher. His bread and butter is counterpunching. And Jim Miller made it so fucking easy for Bobby Green throughout this entire fight. He really did just walk into everything of that Bobby Green threw. It's kind of sad to see it. He really didn't start working his leg kicks until the second round. It's just kind of sad. I wish he was starting the leg kicks earlier, and I wish he was at least feinting a takedown. You can feint takedowns, like get low and touch your hips, and put your lead leg out. Like you can do that, but no, he didn't do that until like the second or third round, and by that, yeah, he got taken down. By that point, he'd already been rocked, and he'd been bleeding profusely from his nose. It was like a bloodbath in there, and I'm surprised. Like if I'm surprised this fight went to the decision. If you added one more minute onto round three, I think Bobby Green finishes Jim Miller. But sad to see it happen. But Jim Miller had an illustrious career. He saw UFC 100, UFC 200, and he lived to see UFC 300. That being said, Bobby Green gets this fight. He gets the win. He's just a different point in the division. He's like one of those guys who are just outside of the top 15. That's how I see Bobby Green, especially coming after a bad TKO KO loss to John Turner, where he took like 10 unanswered strikes while just completely out. It's really worrying when you see stuff like that happens. To a women's fight that I got 100% right, perfect prediction. Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. I said this fight would go to a fucking, not a boring decision, but a female MMA decision, which they all go to. Which spoiler alert, Kayla Harrison broke that rule. But anyways, Jessica Andrade brought Marina Rodriguez to a decision for this fight. And a lot of people were picking Morales Rodriguez, but to say it how it is, Jessica Andrade is she's the only female fighter, like one of five female fighters in the strawweight division who can genuinely throw a hard fucking punch. She boxes like she's a real like a man would box. A lot of these women, they don't look like they look uncomfortable while strong to punch. They don't look like they really know how to load a punch correctly. And Jessica Andrade does. She's one of the few women in this fucking division who does, and that's why when I see her versus these mid-level contenders, I always pick her. She boxes like she was taught by a real fucking man. Well, I think the reason why she does that is, I'm gonna say this, is the L factor. Jessica Andrade is a lesbian. Let's face it, straight women like Maria Rodriguez, they don't know how to throw punches like lesbians. Lesbians, when they cock back, they really throwing with heat. They're throwing with intention. And Maria Rodriguez, she did well with the kicks, and she did do well with the takedowns and the knees in the clinch. She did really work well in the knees in the clinch. But her striking game with a 4-inch reach advantage, like just Andrade is 5'1", just Moreno Rodriguez is 5'5". You should be able to fight this T-Rex motherfucking Jessica Andrade, but no, she can't. She just can't keep up with it. And I'm telling you, Jessica Andrade, despite looking about 40, she is the older fighter. And, if anybody was going to improve from this, it's going to be Jessica Andrade. I'm going to keep picking her until she fights another capable striker like Zhang Wei or Zhang Yang, Zhang Wei, whatever that Asian girl is who fought Wei Li this card. Moving up in the fight, Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. This fight hurts me. I picked Jalen Turner for a TKO finish in the second round. I thought Jalen Turner's long, like powerful, rangy fighting style would just be way too much for Moicano. I thought Moicano could not, close the distance effectively and get Jalen Turner to the ground where he would let off, his the best part of his game, his grappling. I was completely wrong. Jalen Turner, well, I was right and wrong, right? Jalen Turner in the first minute of this fight, whiffs a shot and Mocano gets onto him and just fucking immediately starts climbing on top of him and getting the back take, right? At this point, I'm thinking, oh my fucking god, two wrong picks back to back. They would spend the next like 3 minutes on the ground where eventually Jalen Turner gets out of it. Mocano did various levels of submission attempts, none of them getting through too much. Jalen Turner finally gets back up. The first, like, I say the last a minute and 30 seconds of the round, they're just, kind of tippy tap, just like one twos, one strays, mainly from Jalen Turner. Romano, he really didn't have too much striking wise, as you can see on the UFC. Well, besides the finishing combo, don't mind the head thing. We're getting to that. In the first round, at the end of the first round, I'm literally saying to myself out loud, God, I know John Turner's good, but he really needs to speed up his return. While I'm saying this, boom, Jalen Turner slams Mocano with a fucking clean shot right down the pipe, sending Mocano straight to the fucking canvas. And when I first saw this, I thought, oh, this is over. This is a KO win. The same goes for Jalen Turner. He literally looks at this and turns his head to the ref and goes, like, you can see it. He's looking for a ref to stop the fight. And while he's doing this, Mocano is literally recovering and just like holds on for the remaining few seconds of the round and rides it out to round two. The same shit happens again in the second round. And this time, instead of getting the submission, fucking Morcano just gets into a dominant position and just beats his fucking head in. For a moment, I thought he was gonna be able to escape and buck him off but when he turned over and just covered up, I knew it was the fucking end, man. I was so pissed off about this one. This fight, if 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 John Turner would have jumped on Mocano when he had him down, because his body straight hit the canvas like he had just been knocked out clean. We're talking about 300K for our boy John Turner. He really did just like let $300,000 slip through his hands. Like how are you this long and this tall at lightweight and still that fucking stupid, man? Oh, it pissed me off. Speaking of another fight I got wrong, Sadiq Youssef versus fucking bilingual, not even bilingual, like trilingual Diego Lopez. First off, let me shout out Diego Lopez. This man speaks three different languages. He's a Brazilian who moved to Mexico, who works mainly out of the US. This motherfucker speaks fluent Portuguese, fluent Spanish, and occupational English. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are or where you from. Diego Lopez is already beating these people just by his worth ethic alone. This dude's speaking multiple languages. He's answering Brazilian fans. He's answering Mexican media fans. He's answering um the camera crew on Countdown in English. Like, this man really is about it, and he showed that off in this fucking fight. Lopez is the real fucking deal. He has put the whole goddamn featherweight division on fucking notice. I really wanted my pick in Sadiq Yusuf. I thought Sadiq Yusuf was going to be able to bring Diego Lopez to a decision. I thought he was just going to eke him out in the fight and really just show him what's what. Show him that even though he had fought Mazar Evilov, I thought he was going to be just enough to grind Diego down and get that decision. Nope. Diego Lopez beat the shit out of him. Diego Lopez beat him within the first 2 minutes of this fight. He KO'd him from an uppercut, dropped his ass. Sadiq Youssef went for like a heel hook, I would guess. He went for like a single leg takedown, well, real low, real low. He works his way up back up from the canvas, like with the cage against his side, and then immediately gets I think uppercutted again by Diego Lopez, knocking him out, bro. It was bad, Diego Lopez, this dude's a fucking threat, dude. His jiu-jitsu is elite. His striking is dangerous. He is big for the weight class. He is bilingual. This motherfucker can speak to Brazilian fans, Spanish fans, like any. He literally shouted out the entirety of Latin America while on the while on the mic afterwards in English. Man, this dude is a fucking force at featherweight. This guy's gonna be a fucking force, bro. I hope he's already in the top 15. And just to add on to that, the balls Diego Lopez. You know what he says during the the mic time? You know what he says? He says, I want that fucking rematch with Mazar Evilov. And the way things are looking, he might fucking get it. I think Mazar Evilov, he's probably looking for a title from right about now from his win over Brendan Allen. I don't think he's gonna get it because fucking Max Holloway beat the shit out of Justin Gaethje, but it leaves the division in an interesting spot. Moving up in the card, finally another fucking right pick. That fool came back on moons, yeah. Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison, and you can just tell by the total strikes. This is a barn burner. I don't think a whole lot of people had Holly Holm coming into for this one. Like she's 42, man. She's showing her age. Like if you watch her fights, she's regressing in skill, arguably, and she's nowhere near her prime. Kayla Harrison, on the other hand, is she's built like a GI Joe figure. For real, her arms don't look like they're attached right to her body. It looks like you took them off of like the Hulk and bolted them onto her. Just incredible. She was doing exactly what I predicted her to do in my fight prediction. She was hitting these head and arm throws, which typical female MMA head and arm throws. Trips out. She was really showing that fucking gold medal, that dual gold medal. She really did show Holly Holm what's it like to have real good gold medalists, not to throw any shots, not jujitsu, judo in a female MMA fight. After seeing that fight, I think Kayla Harrison is just one more fight in the from having a title shot in the bantamweight division. She's really that good. Her judo is so fucking elite. I don't think these other girls can really handle it. Think about this. Holly Holm is 42 and was out like just breaking people apart with her judo and just her basic boxing skills. I think Kayla Harrison's really gonna run through this fucking division. I think there's probably like two people who can genuinely put up a fight for the featherweight division. I think it's fucking over, man. And even afterwards, during the press conference, Dana White was asked about Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement to face this woman if she gets the belt back, which seems like that might be the biggest female fight you can do right now, for real. Besides the Shevchenko versus Grasso too. That's fucking amazing, bro. I hope it happens. Going up to another one, I think this is the one I perfectly predicted. Sterling by decision, fucking walk off decision maker Sterling, Aljamain Sterling. It's sad. Aljamain Sterling quickly found out in the fight that Calvin Kattar just cannot balance on his rear leg, so he was just shooting single legs, double legs, double legs. And all respect to Calvin Kattar, he was fighting the takedowns well, but you can only go so long with Aljamain Sterling, especially with him like not having to cut as hard as he would normally have to do to make bantamweight. Him at featherweight is a real fucking threat to the division. Now that being said, Aljamain Sterling's striking is still fucking sus. I still don't like it. I don't like the weird like off movement shots he does. Like he'll move his head in very weird ways and then throw shots. And I thought a guy like Calvin Guitar might make him pay for it, which he kind of did. But the takedown threat just it kind of neutralized Calvin Kattar's entire game. I feel bad for him, you know. Calvin Kattar's like what 36. He's not too far off from retirement. I still think he can. I still think he can beat a couple good guys in the division, but you know his time with the top's over. I feel bad for him, bro. My fucking Pookie Bear, bro. My fucking Pookie Bear. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. This fight was a fucking barn burner. I think it got performance of the night, so that's a 300K in fucking Yuri's pocket. I predict this fight to go to for Rakic. I thought Rakic, you know, calm, collective, you know, measured game was going to be too much for Yuri, especially coming off the KO from Alex Pereira. I thought Alex Pereira was going to change our dear little samurai. And no, that Bushido code that beats in Yuri's heart's way too fucking strong. And he showed this fucking nut hugger Alexander Rakic. I shouldn't say that. Rakic fought well, but in the first round, it looked like it was going to be a complete Rakic like domination. You can tell by the striking numbers, it was not good. He was really lighting them up with those legs kicks, and you can tell Yuri was he was kind of just like absorbing the first couple, but after a while, he had to start switching legs, and that's when you could tell his legs were just fucking cooked. Despite that, you know, it goes to round two, right? His legs are completely fucked. Yuri's still throwing absolute bombs. He's still getting him well. You know, Rakic is trying to keep him at the end of the jab, trying to keep him at the end of the reach. But a guy like Yuri, the guy who's like that darts in and out in fights like that, especially the way he throws his fucking bombs, I don't think he really could have. I think it was kind of fucked from the start. What really put a nail in Rakic's coffin, right, was when he got in the pocket. He got real close and started that brawl with Yuri. And Yuri, he's the best at fucking brawling, bro. I don't think anybody can beat him like that. And he put him out, man. He just fucking beat the shit out of him before he collapsed to the cage and just couldn't get back up. You know, ref stoppage. This is probably the happiest I was on the card for a fight to be completed. I picked against against Yuri, but I fucking love Yuri, man. Every single one of his fights is so fucking entertaining. If you haven't, go back and watch his Ryzen fights back when he was an amateur. Every single one of his fights is a fucking burner. He's one of the best in the division. He's still fucking elite. He's still my boy. Oh god. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Um, in my prediction video, I made a little joke about Bo Nickel deserving the spot on the main card opener, but for real, let's just say how it fucking is. You know, Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic is a top five fighter versus a former champ, and it's below Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. I just think about this for a moment. If you were to replace Bo Nickel versus Brody Munges, just one step below, you know, Alexander Rakic versus Yuri Prochazka, just imagine the energy because it went from that that fucking amazing TKO from Yuri to Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. And to be in all fairness, Bo Nickel did look good out there. It wasn't like he shat the bed or anything or he fucked up. He looked good out there. He was getting, you know, the better of Cody Brundage. He was getting the takedowns. He was getting the total strikes. You know, not very powerful, but he was getting it. He was getting the sub attempts, you know. But Cody Brundage, credit where credit's due. Cody Brundage is a strong fucking dude, real strong fucking dude. He was able to hand fight Bo. He wasn't able to stop the takedowns, but he was able to reverse and try to get out of the worst positions that Bo did put him in. Well, the best thing he did probably throughout this entire fight was fight the hands. He fought hands relentlessly in this fight and made sure Bo Nickel could not submit him. So, you know, credit where credit's due. But in round two, you know, it ended for Bo Nickel, not Bo Nickel. It ended for fucking what was it? Cody Brundage, you know, because he's such a memorable fighter, you know. I predicted this fight to be a first round KO for Bo Nickel. I thought he was just going to get him in a position where he couldn't fight back and just like beat the shit out of him, which just didn't happen. You know, the second round of this fight went kind of the same as the first, with one notable exception. Bo Nickel hits a pretty good takedown on Cody Brundage. He turns into it and just fucking flings him off straight up. It was a good fucking that gained some respect for me for Cody Brundage. But again, Bo Nickel, you know, his relentless wrestling, he just eventually got him back down to the ground where he submitted him. You know, he fought well, but this fight did not deserve to be on the main card. It had no business being on the main card. And for a moment, I thought Bo Nickel was gonna do something smart and say it didn't on the when he was given the mic by Joe Rogan. This stupid fuck was like, "Oh no, you know, I don't care who you put in front of me, and I was disappointed in myself because I was gonna go out there and get a first round KO, or I was gonna finish him quick, and he was more of a test than I was ready for. And then Joe gave him the softball, and it was like, what fighter do you want next? You could say fucking anyone. You could say um, like Ikram. Like no, even if you can't get Ikram, just say Ikram. It was like so good in the division, or say somebody else. Like you can just beat up like Simmelsberger. Instead, he goes, anybody in the UFC puts in front of me, man. It's when you get a offer from me, to sign a contract. That's a blessing. Like just as if Bo Nickel wants to be the most disliked he possibly can be without really saying anything. I swear to fucking God, the mismanagement of Bo Nichols' career is just so fucking sad already. Like he should already be a fan favorite from his days from wrestling, but he fucking isn't. He's so fucking stupid with it. It really just makes me cringe. And all he would have to do to mend this was just go lower in the like the order of the card. That's all he would have to do. But hey, man, you can't teach some people, bro. If he was just a little more humble in that speech, I bet he would have got more fans. But another right pick, Charles Oliveira versus Armin Saryukian. Let me just start this one off by saying this is coming from a man who picked Armin Saryukian. Charles, my Pookie Bear. I picked Armin because I just didn't think this was gonna happen, right? I didn't think that a guy who always gets rocked, who always gets himself in bad positions, would be able to last in there with Armin Saryukin. I thought Armin Saryukin has the power, he has the wrestling, he has the jiu-jitsu. I don't think you can get hurt or end up in a bad position and be in there with Armin. His finishing ability is too fucking high. And what I was shown was that Charles Oliveira, full of fucking surprises. He was able to weather every punch kick thrown at him. And Armin did get him in some bad positions, but he was normally able to just either ride it out till the bell rang, or just fight his way out of it. And I like to say this: if up kicks from bottom were legal, Charles wins this fucking fight. This is coming from a man who picked Armin, right? If up kicks from bottom were legal, Charles Oliveira beats Armin Saryukin. There's literally a point in the fight where Armin has Charles has Armin in the north south position with his head down, knowing that he can't fucking knee him in the head due to this stupid fucking rule set. This rule set pisses me off so much. It ruins the fight and gives people like Armin a fucking advantage because it's like, oh, I can get in the north south, which should be an incredibly powerful position in MMA, but instead it's this bullshit position where you can't get kneed, you can't get 10 to 12 elbow, you can't get up kicked. It's just the bullshit I saw in this fucking fight. I really expected it to be more boos for Armin, but no. Speaking of which, I forgot to say this. Armin Saryukian punched and spat on a guy before he had even got into the octagon. That was the moment I knew it was cooked for Oliveira. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, Armin's coming in here with that Chad energy. I thought he was about to KO our boy fucking Charles. Thank God, no. The rule set needs to be changed. It's fucking shit. There's no reason up kicks from bottom are legal. There's no reason 10 to 12 elbows are legal. There's no reason why somebody like Armin Saryukin can sit in north south and not have to be worried about fucking knees to the head. That's stupid. Anyways, moving up in the card. God damn. Max Blessed Holloway beats the living shit out of Justin Gaethje. When I had predicted this fight, in my fight prediction, I had said Justin Gaethje by fourth round KO. I thought that by that point in the fight, Max had gotten comfortable, and Justin Gaethje, with his new calm, collective style, was able to hit him with something hard enough to KO him and put him out. I even speculated that Justin Gaethje, the fucking wrestler, I'm pretty sure he was a D1 wrestler, would actually wrestle. Fucking silly old me, bro. Silly, silly fucking Cam. This guy, this guy, Max Holloway, he did exactly what he did to everybody else. He kept it at range, kept it elusive. He was coming in, getting strikes. When Justin Gaethje would throw, they typically wouldn't land properly or amazingly. There was a time where he was landing, and it was hitting Max Holloway up into the fourth round. I'll speak what happened there. It looked like he had damaged Max Holloway's right rib, and and something that was really fucking with me is I have to sneeze. God damn it. Whew. Is that Justin Gaethje did not start off throwing leg kicks like he normally would have. I was really expecting him to go in this fight blasting leg kicks, staying on him, trying to get those long finishing combos. But instead, he stayed with that pitter patter, one shot, 1-2 shit that you just can't do against Holloway. The game plan to beat Holloway is to have constant pressure, constant early pressure, especially if you have the power like Gaethje. I don't understand. It's almost like Gaethje didn't fucking understand who he was fighting against. There's multiple times throughout this fight where Max rocks Holloway after landing like a three-punch combination, four-punch combination. His slips and counters throughout this fight, Max Holloway's, were fucking perfect. He's such a good fucking fighter. His counter striking is so fucking good. I think he could have probably beat Max Holloway. Not Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway could have beat Justin Gaethje with just his counter striking. But that's the best thing about fucking Holloway. His he's an aggressive counter striker. He can counter strike. He can just counter strike and coast. But instead, he is aggressive and will push the pace, which is something I fucking love about Max Holloway. We need to appreciate more fighters like him. Anyways, flash forward to round four. Justin Gaethje does what no other man in the UFC had currently done and hit him with a knockdown. He knocked him down. I think it may have been just a combination of he was off balance or his leg was hurt, but Justin Gaethje went up high, hit him on the side of the temple, and knocked down Max Holloway. The first time in his career, he's 33, 32. First time in his career he had been knocked down. Crazy, but Justin Gaethje would be pushed back in the fight again, and it was kind of a depending on how you score the knockdown. If you think it was a slip, Max Holloway won the round. If you think it was a knockdown, Justin won the round. Entering into round five, more of the same, really. Max Holloway's fucking damaging him. He's throwing these spinning back kicks that are so fucking fast. You really expect a wrestler like Justin Gaethje would, wrestle and expect the spinning back fist instead of just shelling up and throwing uppercuts and hooks. But no, he doesn't fucking learn. Max Holloway would just beat the shit out of him, attacking the body, mixing it up, body jabs, leg kicks, just these constant combinations that Justin Gaethje would either try to hook through, which Max Holloway would just pull and counter, or he would try to shell up, which Max Holloway would just tee off on him and then expect the 1-2 counter that was going to come afterwards. Justin Gaethje got read like a fucking book by Max Holloway. Fast forward to near the end of the round, like literally 15 seconds left on the clock. Not Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway points to the ground and tells him to slug it out. In all respect to Justin Gaethje, all respect because if this was any other fighter, they would not have done this. This is what I fucking love. We need to appreciate guys like Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. Justin Gaethje, despite being rocked throughout this fight and despite being hurt, agrees and points to the ground and comes in to fight fucking Max Holloway in the final 10 seconds. And they slug it out. And in the first 5 seconds of it, it's starting to look good for Gaethje, but Max Holloway, just lights him up, waiting for him. Then Justin Gaethje sends up an uppercut like always. Max Holloway goes around the guard, bonk, hits him again with the left while he goes down, and boom, he KOs him, leaves him fucking twitching on the canvas, literally as the buzzer goes off. You can't do any better than that. That's a fucking movie ass clip. That if I was a new fan, I would think that was staged. That's how fucking cool that was. I just had to find this clip of Ilya Tapora standing next to Israel Adesanya reacting to the Max Holloway fucking KO of Justin Gaethje. His face is fucking priceless. I'll just let it speak for itself. Bro, look at his face. Tell me this man didn't just have an oh shit moment. Tell me this man didn't just realize maybe I shouldn't have shit talked Sean. He's thinking to himself, oh, that's my next title defense. That's what he's thinking right now in that moment. Which, with with all due respect, I do think I might be favoring Ilya in the fucking if 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 and when Max Holloway fights him. I'll leave that up for a different video, but I think his short wrestling style with power, something that Gaethje has but won't use, which is fucking wrestling, will cause a lot of problems for Max Holloway. But that's for a different day. This clip is just perfect. You can see it in Ilya's fucking eyes. He's just like, fuck. This title defense aren't gonna be as easy as I thought they were. Look at his fucking face, man. Moving on to one of the weirdest fights on the title card. Um, Zhang Weili versus Yang Zainan. This fight was real fucking weird. Um, in the first round, Zhang Zainan is she gets, of course Zhang Weili just beats the shit out of her and immediately shoots a takedown. Like Zhang Weili literally can bench press Ngannou. This woman is strong as fuck. She might be the strongest woman strawweight we've ever met, like seen. So Zhang Weili gets Zhang Zhang down and controls her for the last couple minutes of the fight until the last minute, right? She eventually gets to the back. She gets to like side control and then sinks up a rear naked. A rear naked. At first, it doesn't seem like it's in. The first like 5 seconds go by, it doesn't seem like it's in. It's still good. It's still good. And then you can just see that Zhao Weili puts that squeeze on her. Even the ref had to come by and grab Zhao Yunnin's hand and see if she's still there. And as it ticks down, you're thinking, oh, Zhang Weili is just gonna hold it into the buzzer, right? No, Zhang Weili's is she's straight up just the entire time squeezing, the entire time. It looks like Zhang Renan is out. It does look like it, right? But I don't know how. But the buzzer goes off and she releases, right? And Zhang Renan, she does not get up immediately. She almost like jolts back awake. Like it literally looks like she was out. It looks like she was fucking out. And she was like she went out the second the buzzer went off. And when Zhang Weili released her, she started going back and and like gaining her consciousness back. Just the weirdest fucking fight. That should have been like right there. That should have been the end of the fight. But unfortunately, it wasn't. The next four rounds were more or less the same as the first, besides the weird ass, unconscious fighter thing. Eventually, Zhang Yan did rock or at least drop Zhang Weili in this fight, but Zhang Weili being her, she just fucking chats her way through everything. That woman has a better jawline than me. It's fucking crazy. She did exactly what I said she was going to do in the prediction video, and Zhang Weili brings it to a decision. Fucking walk-off decision, champ, and then spews some CCCP propaganda on the mic. Literally goaded. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. This fight, it's not too long of a fight to break down. In my prediction video, I said Alex Pereira by second round KO. I thought, the first round of this fight would just be a filling out process. Jamal Hill would be coming in with the straight punches, staying on him, just, feeling it out, maybe throwing a couple leg kicks to just get the range. And Alex Pereira would sit back and kind of watch it, occasionally throw his own jabs and straights and maybe a couple hooks. This is not how the fight went on. First off, the fight happens, and first off, they're walking to the cage, and I noticed that Jamal Hill has some flab onto him, and then after the walkout, and they get their names called, and the round starts, like immediately, I can notice, like once the camera pans over, Jamal Hill has like a muffin top, 100%. He has like just flabby fat muscle just coming off of him, and I just knew this fucker was not going to come into this fight 100% shaped up. Like I just knew he wasn't. Like this guy, he doesn't seem to have the discipline for this shit. But that's a different day, right? The fight goes on, and eventually, Jamal Hill is being backed up against the cage, but he's staying elusive, not really getting hit by much. Where Jamal Hill eventually sends what looks to be a teep. It can't be a leg kick. It was way too high for a leg kick. He sends a teep to Alex Pereira and hits him in the groin, and I think Herb Deem comes in to stop it, and without even looking off, Alice Pereira says no. He just waves him off and keeps going. Right. I think Jamal Hill was kind of surprised by this, and you can even hear the commentary team while the fight's going on laugh at this. Then, right afterwards, he throws a 1-2 combination and immediately just puts Jamal Hill out. Like he was still up, he was still awake, but drops him to the floor, and then immediately just hammer fist and fucking hooks down to him and puts Jamal Hill out. Just brutal, vicious fucking ending to this fight. I'm talking right after being groin kicked. It just shows you the difference between a failed NBA player and a two division glory kickboxer. This also makes me bring up the question of how good is Israel Adesanya? Like Israel Adesanya was able to basically he beat him for 24 minutes of the first fight they had in MMA, and then beat him using deception in the last fight. So it's like fuck, how good is Israel Adesanya? Does Israel Adesanya genuinely have like way better striking than Jamal Hill? Not that I rated Jamal Hill highly, it was just crazy to think about. Anyways, Alex Pereira gets on the fucking mic and immediately calls out the UFC heavyweight champion. He did not say John Jones. He said the UFC heavyweight champion of Tom Aspinall for UFC 301 May 4th in Brazil. This motherfucker is crazy. I love Alex Pereira. That quick turnaround shit, that immigrant mentality where it's like, I can't take a day off. I gotta work. This motherfucker is trying to make back to back defenses, and I fucking love that. Don't get me wrong. I think Tom Aspinall fucking murders Alex Pereira. No joke. I think Tom Aspinall rips Alex Pereira a new one. I think Pereira fans are gonna be massively understating Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, he's a 265 pound man who moves around like a fucking welterweight. He has the power to KO anyone in his division. He's easily out grappled the hardest grapplers in his division of Alexander Volkov. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has incredible power. He has incredible speed. He threw 3 punches in 2 seconds and KO'd both Marcin Tybura and Sergey Pavlovich. Tom, he's a different breed. I'm just gonna leave it as that. He can wrestle. He can grapple. He can strike. His footwork's fucking amazing. His chin got checked by Pavlovich. His chin's fucking good. Tom's the new age heavyweight, and I don't think Alex Pereira should be calling him out. Even Dana said so in the post fight conference. He said, "Yeah, Alex Pereira he's doing good in his division. I think he should stay there. I don't see a need to move up, and I understand why. Dana White's trying to protect his new good champion of Alex Pereira from fucking getting chinned by Tom. If Adesanya is catching you with shovel uppercuts and putting you out, Tom Aspinall is going to rip your fucking head off. There's no reason Alex Pereira should be even asking for Tom right now. I respect the balls, the canaways, whatever they're called, on Alex for calling for it, but there's no reason Alex should be trying to get Tom to fight him, and especially at heavyweight. Good lord. But crazy night of predictions, crazy nights of fights. I already probably the strongest candidate for best card of the year. Up until I heard during the press conference that Dana White said allegedly that we're getting Conor versus Chandler officiated at 175. And what else did he say? Let me check my notes. Islam versus Poirier and Strickland for the co-main as Strickland versus Pablo Costa. Great shit. Love to see it. The UFC's coming out of March Madness, fucking looking great. This year is looking great for fights. It's an exciting time to be an MMA fan right now. Really exciting. I hope y'all have a great day. I might make a video soon enough covering the news released from the press conference, but that'll be all. Y'all have a great day, bro. Bye.